Hey Familia, Igni here. This video is sponsored by Cygames. Check out the link to download Shadowverse in the video description below. It's only been a week, but it feels like a bajillion new cards have been revealed for the new Shadowverse expansion, Wonderland Dreams. Let's give my quick first impressions on all of them. Wyrm God of the Skies, Dragoncraft, 9-cost legendary, 5/6. Last words, during your next turn, double the attack and defense of each allied Dragoncraft follower that comes into play. During your next turn, it's the last words. There's a lot of powerful last words effects that are being added into this expansion. So we might see a rise in prevalence of banish text, but I don't know if Odin or Lightning Blast is good enough to cut it. We'll just have to see. This card in particular, it seems really slow. It's 9 play point for a 5/6 for an effect that doesn't do anything on board. Has the potential for huge combos the turn after, but it can get countered. You can see it coming from a mile away. Depends on whether or not you have the removal. If you don't, then you can get blown out by Stormers the next turn. At 9 play points, you can't really play it with anything. Even if you reduce it with Wyvern Cavalier, you can't play it with Erd or anything like that, so you can't really proc it yourself on your own turn. Seems like a mediocre card that has huge potential for gigantic combos. Young Ogrehunter Momo, Swordcraft, Officer, Silver, 3 play point 2/2, Rush. Clash, gain Bane until the end of the turn if the enemy follower has at least 5 attack. It's sort of like a worse Blitz Lancer on curve, but later in the game it can get huge value, removing really big things. I think it'll see play as a tech removal in a dragon heavy metagame, or if the game goes a little later. Yeah, this card can definitely see play. This one's quite good. Magical Fairy Lilac, Forestcraft Gold, 3 play point 1/4. Clash, destroy the enemy follower, then remove this follower's clash ability. So it can just be a hard removal once. This seems really good. Like on curve, you just have a thing that can remove. Like if you're going second, you play this, you can remove a 4-drop on curve next turn from the player going first. And when with 4 health, it's kind of hard to kill as well in that point in the game. Later on as well, you can evolve it to remove a big thing. I think it's really good in the early game, though. It trades up. I think this card will see play. Cinderella, Swordcraft, Commander Legendary, 3 play point 4/4. Whenever another allied Swordcraft follower comes into play, return this follower to your hand. It's an overstated 3-drop, and even has full of evolved stats, but the problem with Sword is that you want to develop your board. Bring this back into your hand may seem counterintuitive, but, you know, if the card was just good, it wouldn't be any fun, right? Infinite ammo for support cannon, but I do like the design of this card. I think it's interesting. It seems counterintuitive to what Sword is trying to do in building a board, but that's what makes it fun, so I think this is a cool card. I think it's going to be good. Plus, is a 3 play point 4/4. It's just an overstated 3-drop that can trade with Grimnir and all that, and then you can reload it into your hand to heal it, essentially. But you have to pay for it again, obviously. But, yeah, this is not bad. Princess Snow White, 2 play point 1/2. Last word, summon a Princess Snow White and evolve it, then remove all effects on this follower. As I understand it, the rush from evolve does not count as an effect. So if you kill it off yourself, it's a 1/2 that becomes a 2/3 with rush. If the opponent kills it, it's a 1/2 that just becomes a 2/3. This is really good value, though. I don't know if it's weird that Haven is the one that gets a card like this, but I guess I didn't want to give it to Shadow because that'd be ridiculous. But yeah, this card is a lot of value for a 2-drop. I think this is going to see play. Carbuncle of Mysteria, 2 play point 2/1. Bronze Rune card, last word, spell boost the cards in your hand. In a way, it's kind of just like a worse Conjure Golem, isn't it? I don't know if this is going to be any good at all. If you don't need the spell boost right away, you could just like try and draw more and get this to proc, but like it's really not, it doesn't seem. If you need more spell boost, you could run this, but I don't think it's necessary. Angelic Knight, neutral, 3 play point 2/2 ward. Fanfare, give +1/+0 to an allied follower. If you have any 2-drop, you can buff it, trade up, and you have a ward on board. Is it better than Grimnir? I don't know the answer to that question. But in a vacuum, this seems pretty good. If you don't have a 2-drop, though, it's kind of just a 2/2 ward for 3. But if you have any 2-drop at all, which isn't that difficult to get in this game, because 2-drops are very important, and everyone front loads their decks with 2-drops, it seems like, then you play that, you play this, you trade up. Seems good. Dark Alice. Shadowcraft Legendary, 7 play point 5/5. Last words, banish all allied Shadowcraft cards in your play and summon a Dark Alice. At the start of your next turn, banish all Shadowcraft cards in your hand and your deck. Cheaper Mordecai, but worse if you don't build your deck around neutral. If you do build your deck around heavy neutral minion win conditions, and otherwise build a deck that has really, really cheap but good shadow stuff, then you can banish all your shadow cards and get neutral win conditions in the end. I just don't know how effective it'll be because a lot of Shadow's most expensive cards are really good, like Cowie and Mord and Nep and Ector. Zombie Party, even banishing it, it's good late, so you don't really want to banish it. So I'm not sure how effective this archetype will be, but if Shadowcraft can find themselves a powerful neutral win condition, this will be used to thin their deck and get a sticky minion on board that does not go away. Boy Who Cried Wolf, Bloodcraft, 2 play point silver, 3/1, can't be attacked by followers with 1 attack. This is not a good card, I don't think. It's not going to see play. You can still kill it with any ping effect. I guess it prevents getting traded down into. This doesn't seem like it's worth it to run in your deck, especially with Blood, where your win condition and what you're trying to do with your deck is so tight. You can't really afford to run cards like this, which just are a 2-play.31 that otherwise doesn't really do anything. Alice's Adventure, Haven Gold. 2 play points. Whenever an allied neutral follower comes into play, subtract 1 from the countdown of all allied amulets. I don't know if Haven needs this, because you have so many things that reduce countdown anyway. You're taking up a board slot, which you're already kind of starved for when you play Beast Call Arias, and you want, to pop all your animals to come out of the zoo. Initially, to me, it seems superfluous, but I wouldn't be super surprised if some combo comes out that I just didn't think of with some amulet that makes this card good. But right now, it just seems like a 2-play point do nothing that is superfluous to a class that doesn't need more countdown reducers. Dragon Summoner, Dragoncraft 2-play point 1/2 bronze. Fanfare, put a random Dragoncraft follower from your deck into your hand. Dragon has a lot of great tutor effects, and this one is strange because the tutor variance is so high. You can put any Dragoncraft follower at all from your deck into your hand. I guess the idea is that you use this in a neutral-based deck, and then you draw your specific dragon good cards that you want to play. But I don't know if it's going to be played that way. It might just be played as a 2-play point 1/2 draw, honestly. So, yeah, this card is good. I just don't know if it's exactly what they were going for. It could just be used, like, in any dragon list as a draw. Actually, in aggro dragon, this is pretty good. You get a body, you draw. So it could be used there. It could also be used in a neutral ramp package to draw your dragon-specific cards that are really powerful, that you want to make sure that you have in your hand. So, yeah, this card's good, I think. Ded Moroz. It's a 5-play point 5/7. Destroy all other Shadowcraft followers. Restore X to defense to your leader. X equals the number of followers destroyed by this effect. This card seems really powerful. On curve, it's a 5-play point 5/7 that has full evolve stats to a 7/9. The Fanfare can proc friendly last words, which could be considered as a benefit, and it even restores defense to your leader. This card is really loaded in terms of effects, and I think it's going to see play, but I don't think it's going to see play in the decks that we're used to, because if you think about it, in NEP, you don't want it to pollute your NEP draws, and in mid-range Shadow, you don't want it to kill your dudes, because you want dudes on the board as mid-range Shadow, really, and in Ledger, you don't want it to run it there, because it can be pulled by the Ledger instead of your Hell's Unleasher, instead of your Attendant Knight. So it seems like a really powerful card. I'm sure there's a deck that it fits into. I just don't know what deck that is. Maybe it'll fit into some build of one of these decks that I've mentioned in some way that makes it synergistic, but it seems really counterintuitive with all those archetypes that are really prevalent right now. Maybe in some sort of neutral Shadowcraft that they're trying to push, where you just have last words that you proc with this, and then otherwise just be like a neutral mid-range. Yeah, but, on its own as a 5-play point 5/7, it seems powerful, but I don't know if Shadow needs a beat stick. It's a really powerful effect, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it played. I'm just curious to see what deck it's played in. Corpselord of Woe, Shadowcraft, 4-play point 4/4 legendary. Can't attack. At the start of your turn, use Necromancy 6, evolve this follower. I'm tempted to say this is bad, because you use so many Necromancy to activate it, but it's really sticky. But it's at the start of your turn, right? So if it's removed before the start of your next turn, you don't get the last words that resummons it. Yeah, seems bad. Seems bad. I wouldn't run this. Kindly Treant, Forestcraft, 3-play point 2/3. Fanfare, gain +1/+1, and war if there are at least 3 neutral cards in your hand. Even if you play Into the Looking Glass, you skip turn 2 to do that, and then it just seems like you're playing catch up with this 3/4 ward. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be worth it. Gingerbread House, Runecraft, Earth Sigil, 3-play points, deal 2 damage to an enemy follower, restore 2 defense to your leader. 1-play point more expensive than Red Hot, but you restore defense. Yeah, I think this will see play in Earthright, man. This is good. I just don't know how good Dirt will be. It's good for Dirt, though. Eggsplosion, 7-play points, deal 3 damage to all followers. It's the worst conflagration. It's a wide board clear for all classes, but it's not good. It's not good. It's a good meme, but it's not good. Abomination Awakened, Runecraft, 3-play point 6/6, can't attack. If the number of cards in your hand increases to 9 during your turn, evolve this follower and deal 3 damage to all enemy followers. Because you play it on 3, you can even manually evolve it at 4. And Rune has so many card draw effects as well. You can even do it now with like the Mysterian Grimoire and stuff like that, right? With the new cards. The condition seems like it won't be that difficult to pull off. The effect is huge. It's a 3-play point 6/6 that you can manually evolve even if you don't get the effect off. And then the condition to getting the effect is to draw a bunch of cards, which is something you want to do anyway. I think this card's good, man. I think this one's pretty good. And I like it. Kiss of the Princess, Swordcraft, 3-play point spell. Give a neutral follower +2/+4, then change that follower into a Swordcraft commander. So I guess the ideal thing is you play something on 2 and then you play this on 3 to buff it up, right? +2/+4 is really good. That's more stats than a default 3-play point minion in the first place. Could be a bit slow. It's a bit conditional too, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it in play, I think. It's a good buff. Nightmare Executioner, 4play.03 Shadowcraft card, Bane, 0 damage Bane, Clash, draw a card. Now keep in mind that in Shadowverse, 0 attack minions can attack and it does activate Bane. So that said, this is a 4play point, execute a minion, draw a card, if they don't remove it with hard removal. And you don't really feel good removing a 0/3 with hard removal unless you have like Levi and you play Crimson Sorcery into it. Does Shadowcraft need this as a draw, though? You have such powerful options on 4 as Shadow. I don't know if this is something you even need. And as long as soul conversion's in the game, I don't think you're going to be starved for card draw either. Maybe I'm underestimating it, but for some reason I just don't see it being run. Hati, 6play.37 Haven card, gain Rush and Bane of involved enemy followers in play. So it typically affects proc when you have an evolved follower. So an evolved enemy follower. So it's essentially just, it's sort of like a Soul Squasher, but more expensive, but also more survivable. I mean, it's good in a vacuum. Again, it's one of those things where I don't know if Haven needs something like this. It just doesn't. It seems heavy for an effect that Haven doesn't really need. Queen of the Dreadsea. There's really good combo potential. It seems clunky, but there's a lot of combo potential with this card. It's kind of worrying to see this plus like tilting at windmills or something, even though that seems really. I mean, that's a little clunky. It's a lot of cards for that combo. So on the same, you could just play this, and then you could play Genesis Dragon, and then you could play Lucifer on the same turn. Yeah, this card has so much potential. It's hard to evaluate because it seems so powerful. I don't even know where to start. Yeah, this seems like it's got huge potential to be built into a lot of different decks. There's some broken combo in here that it's gonna become apparent once we get our hands on the set. I think the effect is so interesting and powerful that there's got to be some way to utilize this in some powerful fashion, even at the cost of 10. Fairy Driver, 4play.33 Forest Crafts gold whenever an allied fairy comes into play. Give it +1/+0 and storm until the end of the turn. I actually love this card. I don't think it's that good. It's an understated 4-drop that dies to Zombie Party, which is a 2-play point spell. But if it survives, you can play fairies. It's just it doesn't do anything the turn it comes down. It's on an evolved turn. I don't think it's gonna be good. It's not gonna be good, but it's gonna be fun. Apprentice Swordmage. Bronze Runecraft 4play.34 gain +1/+1 if the number of neutral cards in your hand equals or exceeds the number of Runecraft cards in your hand, excluding this card. So even if you meet the condition, it's just a 4/5 beat stick. If you don't, it's a 3/4 vanilla minion. Doesn't seem synergistic to the highly combo playstyle of Rune. Neutral mid-range Rune. I don't know if that's going to work. It might. But the good thing about Wonderland Dreams is that it feels like it's changing up a lot of archetypes and introducing a lot of new ones. That's what it feels like anyway, just from this initial first impressions. So that's something cool about the set. So, but in existing archetypes, I don't think this is going to see any play. Hippogryph Rider, 5play.24 Silver Dragon follower, another storm. Whenever an allied follower attacks, gain +1/+0. You know what? As aggro dragon, you just build up a board. This is going to gain like a bajillion attack. If they don't respond to your stuff, I guess. I don't know about that proposition. It seems like it could be playable, actually, in a hyper-aggressive dragon deck. I'm certainly going to try it out. Emeralda, Demonic Officer, Bloodcraft Gold, 7play.45. Destroy an enemy follower or amulet, gain Storm of Vengeance active for you. This card is awesome. It's an execution already. And then you get a 2play.45 that gains Storm of Vengeance is active for you. And it's not hard to gain Vengeance at this point in the game, let's be honest, with Belphegor and Soul Dealer and all of them. You can remove a ward with this, you can just go face. This is very powerful. Be afraid of Emeralda. Bandersnatch. Be afraid of Bandersnatch. Bloodcraft, Silver, 5play.45 with Rush. Already it's insane. It's a 4/5 vanilla, right? But it also has Rush at 5. And in hand 7, gain Last Words. At the start of your next turn, put a follower that costs at least 6 play points from your deck into play. The good thing is at the start of your next turn, meaning that it can't attack that turn, but 7 play point, thin your deck, put a big dude on board. This is very good. And at 5, it's amazing. Also, just as a reactive play, you can save your Evo, or you can use this to trade and then Evo a minion that you had before to aggress. This card is good. This card is like really good. Rapunzel, 3play.25, gold neutral card. Whenever can't attack when played or at the start of your turn. Whenever another allied follower has attacked this turn, this follower can attack it till the end of the turn. It's a 3play.25. If you have any other follower in play, you get a 3play.25 that can attack normally. The condition is not that difficult to meet, and then it becomes an oversetted 3play.25. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see this run. Rabbit Ear Attendant, Swordcraft Officer, 3play.23. Draw X cards, X equals the number of allied neutral cards in play. Giving Sword tools to refuel is dangerous. It's not hard to meet the condition, and when you can meet the condition even with one thing, it's a 3play.23 that draws you a card. Beauty and the Beast, Forestcraft, 6play.56, gain +2/+2 if you have at least 5 cards in your hand, okay? Gain resistance to damage and destruction from neutral spells and effects if you have at least 3 neutral cards in your hand. So this is clearly for a neutral control forest. And they've been trying to push Control Forest for the longest time. Even in Tempest, they have stuff like Vist and all that. It just never played out. Because Forest has that win condition in Roach that just never goes away. So I don't know. They keep trying to push Neutral Forest, or sorry, Control Forest. I don't know how effective it's going to be. This new neutral angle might be the one to finally do it. And with cards like Beauty and the Beast, I wouldn't be surprised. It's already a 6.56. That's a legendary also. And if you have 5 cards in your hand, not that hard to have as Forest, because you have all these Fairy Generators. It's already a 6.78 that evolves into a 9. 10, you meet the easier condition, you get a gigantic beat stick. You somehow meet both conditions, and you get a gigantic beat stick that has to be attacked into. This card seems very powerful. Goblin Leader, 3-play.12, summon a goblin at the end of your turn. So it's a 3-play.24. Seems like it has to be traded into, too. It's like a pseudo ward in a way. I don't know, could see play. I don't think it's that great. White Rage Swordsman, 5-play.34, gold Swordcraft Officer. This art is incredible, by the way. I freaking love it. Bane Ward, 3-4. Whenever this follower attacks an enemy follower, if you evolve this, becomes a 4-5. Destroy the enemy follower before it can deal any damage in return. Whoa! This guy's a trading monster, man! Yeah, this could see play in Control Sword. Yeah, Control Sword, here we come, man. Illusionist. 5-play.44, randomly summon one of your highest cost followers that's been destroyed during this match and give it rush, banish at the start of your next turn. I love the flavor of this card. You can have it, this just be summoning a storm minion, potentially. I don't know if that's the most interesting application. You can get something that has a last words. I can't really think of anything off the top of my head right now, though. There's a lot of applications of this card, and that's what makes it so fun. It's definitely something to play around with. I like it a lot. Naoise, Red Branch Knight, 2-play.22, Goldhaven follower, fanfare until the start of your next turn. Your leader cannot receive more than 3 damage at a time. Wow! You just need to time it and then drop it at the right time. And then you can completely make an opponent's turn impotent. Fortress Crab, 9-play.68, silver card for Dragon, Ward, Evolve, put it into your hand. It doesn't gain any stats. You only get the thing back on Evolve. It's a 9-play.68, bad card. Mad Hatter, destroy an allied follower, summon a Tin Soldier. Doesn't activate if there's no allied followers in play. Okay, so you can't just summon a Tin Soldier for free. And the Tin Soldier is a 5-play.45, deal 3 damage to an enemy. It's a 7-play. Summon 2 4/5s, activate all last words, essentially. This thing has a lot of effects on it. This is something you'd expect from a legendary gold. This kind of complicated effect from a bronze. Again, the 7-drop slot in Shadow is really overloaded with tons of great cards, so I don't know where it fits in with current archetypes, but the effect seems so powerful. Yeah, 2 4/5s on 7, man. If you have any follower at all by turn 7, which is very likely a Shadow, and the follower you spawn gets to deal 3 damage if you evolve it. Yeah, this seems really good. Shadow has so many 7-drops. This is really hard to evaluate, but this seems potentially powerful. I just don't know what archetype it goes in. Sort of like Ded Moroz. Poisoned Apple of Rebirth. 2-play Shadowcraft spell. That's gold. Change a neutral follower into a Shadowcraft follower. Give that follower last word. Summon another follower of the same name. So you can give a neutral follower, summon this follower again. What do you even want to target with this? You know what? If you target Grimnir with this, it's gonna feel really bad for the opponent. Like, really bad. I don't know, man. It seems like it has a lot of potential. Gruff Mountaineer Captain. It's a 5-play.35 with Rush. Whenever this follower attacks an enemy follower with at least 5 attacks, follower can't be damaged until the end of the turn. Also, you can just bash this into 5 attack minions and deal 3 damage into it. A 5-play.35 neutral with Rush is actually... You know what? That's actually pretty good. I mean, it doesn't really... Even though it doesn't take damage attacking into a 5-attack follower, it's not gonna kill it. Like, most of the 5-attack followers in the game don't have low health. Yeah, it could be used to finish a trade off after an evolve. The effect is alright, but my gut feeling is saying that this won't see that much competitive play. Axe Destroyer, 6-play.65, vanilla, evolve, destroy an enemy follower amulet. This seems really bad. It's just a 6-play.65 vanilla, and you need to evolve it to get a destruction effect. Yeah, this seems bad. This seems overcosted and not worth it. Monk of Purification, 6-play.46, put 2 monastic holy waters into your hand. It's a bit heavy. You heal and refill. Come on, that's a lot of value. That's a lot of value. Could it bring Alana back? I don't know. I don't think this card's enough to bring Alana back, but that's not a bad effect at all. Furtive Fangs. Give a neutral follower the Medusa effect? You can get like a small loot to trade up. It doesn't seem worth it to run it as a deck in your deck to take up a deck slot though. Seems like it's conditional already. Medusa's Gaze isn't played, so this seems like it won't be played, I think. Scarlet Sabreur. Scarlet Sabre. It's like a mini Temptress Vampire. Deal 2 damage to an enemy, restore 2 damage to 2 defense to your leader. Another tool for Control Blood. The Bane is really great because it makes sure that even though this card is understated, you can trade evenly. This seems pretty good. It can 2 for 1. Fairy Dragon, Forest Craft Legendary, 2 play point 04 Ward. Add X to this follower's attack. This value equals the number of allied fairies that have been destroyed during this match? During this match? You even destroy 1 fairy, it's already a better Blood Imp. Oh, sorry, Spiderweb Imp. My bad. You destroy 2, it's a 2 play point 24 Ward. You don't obviously play this on curve at 2, which makes it a little less good than Spiderweb Imp. I guess that's where this power Spiderweb Imp lies, actually, is the turn 2 play, huh? A lot of fairies die during matches. I think this card's really good, actually. It can be fit. It can be fit into so many forest lists. Wood of Brambles, another forest amulet, 2 play point. I don't like forest amulets in general. They never seem like they're worth it. Fairies aren't even cost reduced. It's a 2 play point, do nothing. It doesn't give the allied followers rush or anything. I don't know. I don't think this is gonna see play. It just seems like it doesn't do enough. Felice Leonardian Mage, Runecraft, 5 play point 36 golden Runecraft card. Fanfare, deal X damage to an enemy follower. X equals the number of neutral cards in your hand. Hand 7, evolve this follower. Whoa. And it gets Storm on an it gets Storm on evolve. It's kind of like Emeralda, isn't it? In just a different way. It's like a finisher for aggro, maybe? You play it on 7, it becomes a 4/7 that gets Storm, and then if you have enough cards in hand, you can remove a ward with it. I don't think it's as good as Emeralda, but I think it's good. Temple of the Inquisition, 2 play point, countdown 5 Bronze Haven Amulet. Whenever an enemy follower is destroyed, subtract 1. From this countdown, draw 3 cards. That's a lot of damn cards. Although you know what, Haven can destroy enemy followers like nobody's business. I like it. I like the design. It seems like it has potential maybe in the future. I just don't see it being that useful in in the immediate future. Maybe when a more combo-oriented deck comes into play. Spawn of the Abyss. This card is bonkers. It's a win con for Control Blood. It does insane damage. Has ambush, it can't be answered. Lightning Blast doesn't have an untargetable banish anymore. Turn 8, you play this, you evolve it, it becomes a 16 damage nuke. Even if they kill it with Tribunal, it still does damage to your face. Not to mention it can be pulled with Baphomet and Bandersnatch. This card is amazing. Actually amazing. Especially for Control Blood. This is a huge boon to an archetype that otherwise didn't have a solid win condition. Hector, neutral gold, 5 play point 44. Ward, deal 3 damage to an enemy if you have at least 3 neutral cards in your hand. Yeah, it's alright. They're really pushing this at least 3 neutral thing. So if you really build your deck around all of these effects, you get a 5 play point 44 that deals 3 damage. That has ward. Already it's a 5 play point 44 that has ward. It's not bad. It deals 3 damage, you have at least 3 neutral cards. Yeah, this seems like a not bad card. If you're running neutral decks, this is definitely a worthy inclusion. Actress Feria, 2 play point 22. That's completely vanilla, but if you evolve it, +1/+1 to all other allied neutral followers, I suppose, in play. Not really worth it. You'd rather spend your evolves on powerful mid-game class-specific things. Have maybe a lot of neutral followers that just buff stats, but you don't need this as an additional piece, I think, to make your board big. You already have Alice. Eagleman! Yes! More freedom for Haven. 6 play point 45 ward. Whenever an allied neutral follower comes into play, just subtract 1 from this card's cost. So the card has to be in hand first. Goblin, Eagleman. That's potentially a thing you could do. Turn 3 Eagleman. 4/5 ward for 3 seems good. That's very situational, isn't it? It's whenever it comes into play too, right? So if you play Goblin Princess, this already becomes a 3 play point 45, even if you didn't buff it at all before that point. Yeah, man, I like it. And that's it. That's all the cards revealed so far. Thank you for watching. That was just my first impressions on the newly revealed cards from last week to this week. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Like the video if you did. Don't if you didn't. Subscribe for more Shadowverse content and Wonderland Dreams hype in the very near future. Of course, thank you to my wonderful patrons. You have my eternal gratitude. If you'd like to support the channel as well, you can head on over to patreon.com/Ignatius, and if not, that's fine too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.